I have been journaling for the last 12 years of my life, whether it is in the form of writing the things I am grateful for, the things I want to do for the day, my crazy big dreams, or even the very feeling I feel like will last forever but will forget about just a few days later. Initially, I started journaling because I was an impressionable and sensitive 15-year-old girl who spent way too much time on Tumblr. I picked up journaling because it was what the aesthetic girls were doing on Tumblr, writing in their diary. Yes, my lifelong love for journaling started because of a silly little thing I was obsessed with as a teen. As I go through life, my journal entries that used to only be a few lines long would expand in both length and depth. And journaling quickly became a core part of both my identity and life. If I had to come up with an analogy for journaling, it would probably be this. Journaling is like a field of manure. Although I'm not exactly standing in a field of manure at the moment. It is messy, a lot of it is just, but it's also rich and full of potential. Every journal entry is like a seed. Not every seed takes root, but the ones that do grow into realizations and learnings that shape my life or into videos like this one. Hi, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Joy. I used to work and live in corporate New York City. Left about a year ago to give myself about 2 years to figure out my own path. And I am working on my own startup, and in my free time, I make videos. I definitely wouldn't be on this trajectory if it weren't for journaling, because journaling helped me find my life purpose. It taught me so much about life, and in this video, I want to talk about all of that, as well as some journaling techniques that I use. So I've been journaling pretty much for at least the last 12 years of my life. I started since I was a teen, but only started becoming more serious when I started living in New York, which was 2019. And from my 5 years in New York City, I have over 12 leg terms. I love journaling so much, I don't think I can ever stop. Now, time to get deep. Over the years, journaling has become the space where I am able to write freely, exploring my thoughts, finding my voice, and discovering my life purpose in the process. But at the beginning, my entries were anything but deep. They were short and simple. I would write the name of boys I had a crush on. On pages, I would sometimes scribble, "I hate my life," after an argument with my mom, or on a particularly dreamy day, I would write, "I want to live in New York someday." I guess as a 15-year-old girl, I didn't exactly have the capacity to be deep. I was just trying to be a 15-year-old girl. But even as I entered my late teens, my entries remained short. Part of it was also because I wasn't comfortable sitting alone with my thoughts. But the main reason was because I approached journaling like this really big task that I had to be perfect in. As someone who grew up being really type A and having this desire to overachieve, I approached journaling the same way. And you know what happens when you are a perfectionist? You tend to avoid doing the thing you actually want to do because of your unhealthily high standards. Every sentence had to be poetic. Every page had to mean something. The pressure to journal a certain way was way too much, and my journal ended up being filled with half-baked entries. Eventually, I got over it with time, and by the time I graduated from college and moved to New York, I had the mindset of it was simply enough to just write, and so I started writing. I have a confession. I have this tendency to journal more when I am feeling bad or unhappy or anxious or stressed or lonely. Even when I'm doing gratitude journaling, it's usually because I've hit a point in life where I'm feeling not great. Most days when I'm journaling, it's fueled by this desire to manage the negativity that I'm feeling. And then when I'm feeling happy, feeling good about myself and my life, I don't really write all that much. You know what they say, art is born out of pain, whether it is anger or heartbreak. So a lot of my journal entries were spent ruminating over the same thing over and over again. When I got rejected by over 100 something job applications, whenever I felt behind, throughout high school, college, and even now. Sometimes when I reread my old entries, I really wish I could go back in time and give my younger self a hug. There were a lot of dark times. But rereading all these entries, they remind me that a lot of things only make sense in retrospect. That you can't connect the dots looking forward, and you can only connect them looking backwards. How in the moment, the terrible thing that I struggled with, turned out to put me on a path that was better for me. And it is so important to trust that everything will work out in your favor and with time. Flipping the pages of my journal also reminds me of one thing, that no feeling lasts forever. The dread, the desperation, the sense of doom, the feeling like your life is over, the feeling like your life will always stay the same, even that crush on that boy you had one too many Taylor Swift references about, you thought that you would never get over. You get over that. You get over it all. Every single feeling, even the one you swear you want to hold on to forever, it will slip through your fingers too. It humbles me that we have such little say over what remains in our lives. All we can do is really just appreciate the feeling, because one day we will want to remember, as we will somehow find a way to somehow look at the past that you swear you would never want to relive with rose-tinted glasses. When I was 13, I wrote somewhere in one of my journals that my dream was to work and live in New York City when I'm in my 20s. At that point, I didn't know a single person who lived in New York. I was living in Jakarta, Indonesia. People from my high school did not typically go to America, let alone New York. I wasn't sure why I had that dream, but it was my dream. And if you've been watching me for a while, you know that that dream eventually became a reality. I lived and worked in New York for 5 years, and then realized I wanted something else out of my life. But the part that I sometimes forget to talk about is how I almost forgot that dream and how that dream almost remained just a dream. As a college student living in Southern California who was really struggling with her sense of self, New York felt like it was too big of a dream, and so I looked for other dreams. Somehow I concluded that what I wanted to do after graduation was work in finance in Asia. I spent 2 years trying to recruit, only to hate every single minute I spent looking at the balance sheet. Working in finance in Asia was a dream of every smart student I had crossed paths with in college, and because I wanted to be smart, or to be seen as smart, I thought that it was what I wanted for myself too, because I wasn't confident with myself, and I was afraid of chasing my own dreams. All that while, I felt so miserable and lost. I feel like deep down, we know what we want out of life. The dream life, the dream job, or the answers to our many burning questions. But we tend to reject the answer, or go live our lives trying to look for a different one, whether it is because of societal pressure or because we don't believe in ourselves enough. Having a dream, pursuing your dream, doesn't always mean that it is going to be happily ever after. Most of the time, it's not going to be easy. But chasing your dreams and pursuing the path that you choose is what makes your life your own. It doesn't mean it won't be hard, but there's so much solace in knowing that your choices are your own. Whenever you feel lost and confused, I feel like what you really need is to take a moment to yourself. Because we live in a world that's always constantly telling us to do something, to improve on something, and all of that stimuli can sometimes make us forget what it is that we truly want out of life, what it is that we truly value. And as a result, we pick up other people's dreams or we forget our own. So in moments when you feel really lost in life, what you really need to do is put on your headphones, ignore the noise that is the outside world, then be honest and listen to yourself. Journaling is my way of putting on headphones and ignoring the rest of the world. Sometimes I forget to, and sometimes I get a little lost myself. And whenever I'm in that point, I remind myself that what I need is to stick to my path, not compare, and listen to myself more. Every time the world gets a little too loud, journaling is the one thing that silences all that noise and allows me to really have clarity. So for 2025, my most updated journaling stack is I have 3 notebooks. This is a classic Lecterm journal that I've been using since 2019. And over here, I normally write about my days, how I'm feeling, what I'm ruminating about, and just go really deep with my thoughts and emotions here. I'm pretty anal about the paper type, so this is my favorite one. For my work journal, where I write about my daily to-do list and things I want to do from a monthly to weekly to daily breakdown, I use this journal from Kiki K, which is my favorite planner brand. And lastly, I have a smaller version of that, which is also from Kiki K. And at the end of every day, I write how I felt throughout the day, so one word to describe my day and also one affirmation for each day. That is currently my journaling stack. I also use a digital journaling app called Gratitude where you can upload photos and write out the things I'm grateful for at the end of every day. So mainly when I'm journaling, I try to ask myself one of these questions. What happened today? How am I feeling? If I knew that if I couldn't fail, what would I be doing with my time? Where do I see myself at the end of the year, 5 years, or even 10 years? And all of this is just a good way to clear my mind because I like to overthink and just daydream a lot. Having all of these thoughts out on paper allows me to feel lighter and to have mental clarity. I find that when I write my feelings and thoughts down, it actually clears my subconscious. I have the space to be more creative and to think about like things I need to think about instead of just like overthinking in my head. The main things journaling has done for me, apart from mental clarity and emotional regulation, is I just look at life from such a reflective standpoint. And so like when I make videos, it's pretty easy for me to come up with material. And yeah, journaling definitely makes me more aware of everything, my conscious, subconscious, my desires, my dreams, my feelings, the things I need to be doing and whatnot. There is no right way to journal, and really if you want to journal, you should really just open up a page and write down whatever it is that you're thinking or feeling. A lot of prompts that are out there can guide you, and there are so many good resources out there. I find that what works for me might not work for you, and what works for you might not work for me. But if you like journaling or if you want to give it a try, I hope this video helps you. And if you've already been journaling, tell me how you use it in your day-to-day life. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Love you. Bye.